Today we're going to do potatoes O'Brien. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying we're doing some hash browns with onions and peppers. We went ahead and our diced onions, green pepper, red pepper, sliced some potatoes. Just finishing up with that right here. We're going to have a hot saute pan, a little bit of vegetable oil, a little bit of butter that we're going to blend in with it, and we add the vegetable oil to butter to raise the scorch temperature. That way we get our flavor from our butter. And if you notice, I just kind of cut it 3 ways. The thinner you slice this, the faster they're going to cook. So you don't want to make them 1/2 inch thick, but as thin as you can do comfortably without cutting yourself. And then once we've got a nice hot pan, we're going to add our oil. I believe it calls for 1 tablespoon. Then we're going to do a tablespoon of butter. In this case, I'm going to use vegetable spread. And the first thing we're going to add in there, after our butter and oil is melted a little bit, we're going to add in our onion and pepper mix. And we can do this a couple different ways. You can add these in and get these cooked and then take them out and start over with your potatoes. But I actually prefer to do the all one pan method. Cut down on your steps. We're going to give it a little salt and pepper. And I'm also going to use a little bit of granulated garlic. Now that we've got a good saute going on our veggies, we're going to give them a little stir. Should make your kitchen smell wonderful. And just be careful. We are going to fill this pan up quite a bit, so we're going to be careful with stirring. Next, we're going to take our potatoes, and even if we don't use them all, we don't want to overload our pan. We can do this in batches, and you can always fry some more potatoes to go with it. This actually looks like it should be just about the perfect amount, which was 4 potatoes. Now we're going to go ahead and let this continue to cook. We're going to get some caramelization on our onions and our peppers below. The steam action that we got going on there is going to start cooking our potatoes a little bit, and then we'll give them a good stir, get it going. At this time, we're going to add a little bit more salt and pepper. Remember, we always season as we go. So every ingredient you add blands it down. So you don't want to, of course, over season, but you want to make sure that it tastes good. And then what I do with these round pans is you stir from the outside to the inside, just like this with your spoon. And what that does is it takes your stuff from this outer edge and puts it back to the middle. And you just work your way around the pan. And anytime you have anything that you need to mix together in a round container, the best way is just to work your way from the outside to inside all the way around. You'll get a nice even mix, as you can see. And we're just going to let this cook. Total time is going to be about 15 minutes. So once we got this good saute going, we're going to make sure that we turn our temperature down to about medium. That way we don't get so hot that we burn our potatoes and onions, but we still have enough heat to actually cook and get some caramelization, which is the color, the browning of the food product. And that's the natural caramelization of the sugars in our vegetables. And alrighty then. Now we've got our potatoes getting some color here. Good sauteing going on. If you have lids to put over this in the meantime, that'll help trap our heat and help the cooking process with our potatoes. But total time about 10-12 minutes. When you got your potatoes sliced thin enough, they don't take that long to cook. When you're doing something like this, be sure that you use a potato with a high enough moisture content for it. You wouldn't want something that's real starchy like a Idaho or a russet. You want more like a white potato or a red potato. They'll hold their shape better. One of the other potatoes, when you cook it, you've all seen the inside of a baked potato crumble because it doesn't have the moisture content to hold it together. So yes, there is a difference in potatoes. But looks good. We got some color starting. And we're almost to the point where we're going to give it a little taste test. Adjust it. And then we'll call it a day for you guys. And now that I got this done, I'm going to fry up some eggs and have me some hash browns and fried eggs. Yummy. We've gotten about 10-12 minutes into the cooking process. Our potatoes are almost there, but they're going to need a little bit of help when you're doing it all in the pan like this. And it's not on the recipe, but I like to add about 1/3 of a cup of chicken stock, chicken broth, to my pan. And what this is going to do is going to help steam and boil our potatoes and help them finish cooking. It's going to keep our onions and peppers from burning anymore. And the starch from the potatoes is going to thicken this liquid up and finish cooking our potatoes in it. And once you've done that, you can turn your heat down to medium, and now would be a great time to put a lid on this and just let it kind of steam itself done. And this is my improvised lid. But now, as you can see, we've got our potatoes. Our liquid we put in there is kind of thickened up with the starch from the potatoes. That's helped cook and finish our taters. Taters. And now, the last step will be to taste and season accordingly. Oh yeah, perfect, tender potatoes. Those are like right on the money. Just a little bit of salt and pepper to just open up that flavor. And we'll call this the start to a really good breakfast.